anyone want to? I go first.
No.
No. No.
Unless you want to play, Amy. seen Champs on your way in? Oh, fucking please can make it. Just happens to be the small map of the timetable.
Yeah.
Hey, managed to drag you in, darling. How are you?
Okay. You okay?
Yes. What about you? You alright?
Yeah, I see.
Yeah.
I'm glad to have apart from you.
Well, you didn't get one at the airport.
No, I was with George.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, Maxman's house. Oh dear. I must admit. Interesting. Shave, haven't you?
Apart from maybe Beauchamp, all three of them are in the ladies' team.
Oh.
The other three rather. Harvey's captain of the ladies' team.
Really scared. You've seen me run up yet?
Okay. Nice to see you. Right, what's something for me? Me? Yeah, I did something, yes. I did something. It's been a long time ago, but I forgot. But I did something for the World Cup, yes. I think a bit more, actually. 16 years ago. Okay.
Morning, gents. Very shortly, we're going to be starting the ladies' semi-final of the singles off. The men's matches won't be starting until that's finished. So what I'd like, just for appearance on the streaming, if alone of you could stand along the back of these tables, facing that way, then as soon as we've finished, you can get away to your matches. Appreciate that, thanks.
You're going to take that in one piece, right? No. Hi, you alright?
We commentators, and I know Joe's here. Well, here as well.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the World Eggball Pool Championship here at the Imperial Hotel in Blackpool. An early morning kickoff, and we have two matches now. The ladies' single semi-finals on table one. Will you please give it up for the referee, Matt Ward? The contestants from England, Sharon James. Her opponent, world reigning champion from England, Beauchamp. And on table two, the referee for the match, give it up for Lloyd Clark. The contestants in the ladies' singles semi-final on table two, give it up for Anne Louise Arkle from England. Her opponent, number 2 seed from England, a warm welcome to Barbara Taylor. Right, referees, commence the games.
Sound was good, or too loud? No, it's good.
Happy? Okay, so the next one is 11:30. Yeah. See you the information will come before.
Yeah.
You don't need me.
No.
No. He has to wait and get the camera back.
He is waiting.
No, he's not.
Just wait for a minute or so, that's all. Yeah, I know I said.
Right, we're now starting the next round in the men's section. On tables 3 and 12, France and England. On 13-14, Reunion Island, England. 4 and 11, Malta, Wales. 5 and 6, Scotland, Ireland. 9 and 10, Australia, Mauritius. And 7 and 8, South Africa, Northern Ireland. Thank you.
Right, carry on. Thank you. It's the price of media fame.
Time running. Go on, Butty. You're about to nominate him. You're about to play.
Cover the finals when we used to have a one table setup. Streaming 2 tables in parallel now. This tournament's been underway for well over a week now, very much reaching the business end of proceedings. It starts to feel very real, and by the time you reach the semi-finals, certainly all 4 players will feel that they've got one hand heading towards the trophy. They desperately want to get through to the final, play the big showcase event. We'll be bringing you live coverage of that at 1 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. And this is what we've seen so many times from Amy Beauchamp, coming out the traps very quickly here. Good clearance, looks to be on the cards in this first frame. Just a simple red, black to the right hand centre pocket to come afterwards. Don't think any of this will come as a surprise to Sharon James. She's watched and played Amy on numerous occasions. She knows what she's able to do, and what a surprising miss is that. That is not something we've seen a lot of in the past few years. When Amy Beauchamp has been marching towards the couple of world titles she secured in that period, she has not been doing that by missing balls like that. Anybody can be forgiven, of course, some early frame nerves, but that's going to be a huge confidence boost for Sharon. You can see immediately playing the cue ball into an area where she can look to secure a snooker, trying to get a couple of visits. She wants to settle herself into the match. And no problem at all securing a total snooker. If you're going to be hypercritical, the only thing you might say there is that she might have been better to try and get those yellows promoted slightly further away from the cushion. They're still quite close to being clustered up. Amy Beauchamp knows the tactics well enough to know that there was no advantage in trying to get out of that snooker. Happy just to give the 2 visits away. But that, of course, is the reason why it might have made sense for Sharon to play a slightly more aggressive safety shot, because now she's in a position where she's still got those 2 yellows slightly tied up. I think the one nearest the cushion will pot if you're in the right position, but this clearance perhaps not quite as simple as she's looking for. To get underway in the first frame, she's also got the yellow ball on the right hand side cushion above the middle pocket. Attempting to disturb that, that's not quite come out right. Got the option, of course, of playing another snooker. Well, that was the right idea, but not quite the right execution. She correctly identified this time that she needed to promote the yellows into better pottable positions. She wasn't trying to move the one that's up near the ball line that she's ended up nudging the yellow towards. It would potentially have been a viable shot to play the shot much firmer and disturb that as well. She wasn't really trying to do that. Unfortunately for her, this slight pathway has opened up. This is a very difficult clip. If Amy decides to go for the clip, she's going to be careful that she doesn't cannon out. If she misses it, she could so easily cannon out the 2 difficult yellows, which is why she's not gone for anything too attacking. That's actually a very sensible percentage shot, because the black is now hanging over the corner pocket, so if Sharon is to miss this ball, the frame will be over. problem with that, but the question is what she does with the 2 yellows that are tied up. She hasn't quite got the angle, I don't think, to screw into them off this one. Maybe she could just about get into the cue ball enough, but that would be a tough ask. And they're not sitting brilliantly just to run up behind them. Use this cue ball to come across the table. This is a difficult shot from this position. She can get in behind them. She'd have to run very thin off this first one. This is a delicate shot. I think that's too hard. Oh no, that is a very good quality shot. That shot was much harder than it looked. It might look from this angle that you could have just run into those and ended up glued to that ball, but you had to hit that just right. She's also hampered Amy. Ordinarily, you'd say an up and down one cushion escape along the length of the table. Players normally hit these pretty reliably, and she does. That's the problem. It's hard to snooker somebody well enough from that kind of position to get them such that they're not going to be able to hit the ball. Valiant effort though from Sharon James. She was never in a perfect position in that frame. Amy Beauchamp got in first, potted all 7 reds. Uncharacteristic miss on the black, but ultimately didn't prove costly for her. And it's the defending champion Amy Beauchamp goes 1-0 up.
Could you make sure that your timekeepers are in the arena, please? And timekeepers, can you make sure that you call 30 seconds on time foul, time running, etc. loud enough for spectators and players to hear?
So as the referee Matt Ward just makes sure all the balls are racked up tightly. It's Amy Beauchamp to step up for her first break of the game in frame number 2. Oh, she hit those pretty well. Not as hard as she sometimes hits them, but she did the important thing, which was to get all the power into the pack. She hit them dead on. Sometimes you see people inject a bit of extra power and the white goes flying off the front of the pack and around the table. No such problem there, but no balls potted. Sharon choosing to go for the reds, which are generally the ones on the outside of the pack. They're in slightly more open positions than the yellows, although not absolutely perfect yet. Nervous moment as that red hung on the jaw of the corner pocket. She was actually slightly lucky that that went in. She played it at the right pace to give it every chance, but she did brush the near jaw, and it tends to be the case that balls don't fall in if you brush the near jaw. Well, she's played to cover that pocket, but that unfortunately has gone almost clean in. So now I look to not plant these in, but play them, well, I was going to say, play them in such a way that she pushes the second red towards the pocket. That's, if she feels that's drifted off, or if she's just caught that slightly offline. Ended up hitting that red pretty much dead straight. She just needed a tiny bit of angle on it. There's great vision around the table, Amy. She doesn't need to spend very long looking at how she's going to go about a clearance. She instinctively understands where the cue ball's going. She's also not afraid to leave herself more difficult shots. See some players try to keep themselves in absolutely prime position all the time, stay very close to the balls they're potting. Obviously she'll do that if she can, and she's been able to do that so far in this break. She's equally not afraid to leave herself more difficult long shots if required. Sharon James will be very much up for this match, and she's played very well to get to this point. But all the players are scared of what Amy can do on the table. Just pausing for a moment, she's just ever so slightly off straight with this ball. If she was completely straight, she could just run the cue ball through. That was the problem. She just had just half an inch of angle, which was going to just knock her into that red. She paused for a moment, and she seemed to notice that that was the risk, that she was always going to cannon that red. I think she was just hoping she could make enough angle just to run through and not clip it. But it may have been better just to play it a little bit firmer and try and push the cue ball through. No problem, of course, hitting the ball out of the snooker off one cushion there, but it's turned the table over to her opponent. And this, you've got to feel, is an important moment for Sharon James. She's got to be taking these kind of half, three-quarter chances. It's not yet a perfect opportunity. It's looking a lot better now, though. She's played another good snooker, and unlike the snooker she played in the last frame, it's not a difficult escape, but it's difficult to get it safe for Amy. Well, she'll more than settle for this result. She was always going to hit a yellow there, but the question was what happened to the cue ball afterwards. And actually, not only has the cue ball gone into a relatively safe position, but that yellow coming down there has made it much harder for Sharon to play another safety shot coming back. If the yellow was still at the other end of the table, she could play something a bit more similar to what she played last time. She'll have to bump gently into this red now. Well, she was able to bump into it in a way that promoted it off the cushion. Always trusting to luck a bit where she ended up for the next shot, though. Good effort. That was a tricky shot, played at that pace. If you could have just dropped that ball dead weight into the middle pocket, it would have made the pot easier, but that would have availed no kind of position. So deliberately played it hardest to come in and out of bulk, and she was pretty nicely on the next red. That ball had just dropped in. She'd had a good chance at the clearance. Not a complete formality from here for Amy. She could clip this ball into the middle pocket, but that's not going to afford very easy position. She may have space to cross double it and get the white this side. If she can get the white out of the way, that would be worth doing. Otherwise she's going to have to clip it in and run the white round the angles. That's what she tried to do. Now, can she see the edge? Well, I think she may be able to see the wafer thin edge of this yellow. She can't see the potting angle though. So, electing just to clip it towards the pocket. That's a good shot from Sharon. That wasn't the easiest place to play a snooker from. Although the balls are guarding Amy's yellow, it was difficult to play off that one in the middle of the table. She had to drive a ball, of course, to a cushion after that, so that made it a bit harder. Another relatively easy escape for Amy. The ball's close enough to the side cushion that even if she hits the right-hand side cushion first, she's always going to hit the yellow. The question I was going to say is whether she pots it, and she does pot it. And that's an example of what a dangerous opponent she is. A lot of people would have been happy to hit that ball. I wouldn't say she was playing it with the certainty of potting it, but she played it in such a way that she gave herself every chance. Quite there with the black. So what does Sharon want to do here? She can play a safety, or she can clip this ball in. The fact she's been able to play that snooker in such a way that she covers the baulk cushion makes it the right shot. It wouldn't have been much purpose just playing a snooker there if Amy could have come up and down the table. She'd be potting that black too high a percentage of the time for that to make sense. But from this position, it's not that straightforward. The black's quite tight to that left-hand side cushion. It makes it a slightly smaller target. She'd really like to hit this in such a way the cue ball's ultimately coming off the baulk cushion, because then that would give her a chance of potting it, but she'd have to come around 4 cushions as she hit. That was a very tough ask. So this is the moment Sharon James has been looking for. She's got 3 open balls and the black hanging over her middle pocket. She's got to make the most of this. Oh, great opening pot. Okay, she had the assurance of the 2 visits there, but still that was actually quite a high pressure shot, because if she knocks that in, she knows she's got every chance of winning the frame. That one goes begging, but this should still be okay. She can get this red past the one over the pocket. She needs to make sure she doesn't touch it on the way through. Safely negotiated. So just screw this in with backspin on left-hand side, draw the cue ball back up to the top end of the table. And that's a good solid clearance from Sharon James. That was a very presentable opportunity. Once she had the 2 visits, she'd have been aghast if she hadn't cleared up from there, but still, it was her first frame in the World Championship semi-finals. Never easy to clear up from that kind of position. Should be very relieved to get that frame on the board. Got a match on our hands here. Amy Beauchamp won, Sharon James won. And from a neutral's perspective, that's very much what you want to see. Now each of the players has got a frame on the board. They can both relax into this match. They're both hugely experienced match players, so they wouldn't have been phased even if it had taken them a while to get the first frame, but somehow that tends to settle people down. They'll be able to settle into the routine of playing their own games now. So Sharon James breaking off there, slightly better result than her first break. She's potted a yellow ball. Balls haven't split up too badly, but it's not quite as easy an opportunity as you would ideally like. You'd probably favour the reds from here, although you can make a case for either. Red on the right hand side cushion that's going to be the most difficult one to get on, because it's being slightly protected by that yellow. She may have an angle to run through, either to drop on it or to cannon it out here. It depends how straight this red is. Yeah, straight enough that she could run through and drop on it. She'll probably play this red down the line in such a way that if she was to draw it, it will hang over the corner pocket. Fairly natural position here. The cue ball's going to be going across the table, so she's going to leave some kind of shot at the balls in baulk. That was always going to be okay. I think she'll be happy enough with that outcome. Doesn't put quite the same pressure on Amy as making a first visit clearance, and I think if she's going to have any plans of winning this match, she's going to have to start competing with Amy in that department, because she's a prolific clearer from open positions. It's finished up relatively safe, all things considered. There's 2 pots that Sharon can go for, the one over the corner pocket, or she can clip the red below the black, make it into a plant. I don't know if she can get through to the middle of the 3 reds in bulk. If she can see enough of that to get the potting angle, she might have preferred that. It doesn't look like she can. Able to play that as something of a shot to nothing. If it had gone in, she'd have had a choice of a couple of pots, and now it hasn't. She hasn't left an easy starter for Amy. Amy can either drop this in the middle or play it up the line. Goes for it up the line. That was a better percentage shot, of course, because if it didn't go in, it was going to go over there, which was going to be relatively helpful to her anyway. This is where she can be dangerous, though. She can pick out a tricky starting pot and then could get a clearance underway. That was a difficult shot. I think later on in the match, once she's fully in stride, I might well have expected her to get it. Close was that? Did everything but go in there. Knocked a few times on both jaws, but ultimately bounced away from the pocket. And now suddenly the table's looking pretty open. A little bit of work to be done with this starter. She's going to have to plant the red to the right of the black. Should be okay with this. There's a little bit of distance between the balls, but no great difficulty to the shot. Different ways she can go. She could have dropped the one in the middle pocket, but electing to take the one over the corner first because it afforded better position. It would have been easier if this was a little bit straighter. She may be able to just roll this in and hold for the yellow to the left of the black. If not, she's going to have to play a slightly more difficult positional shot. Didn't really want to play that cannon in the sense that there was no need to move that yellow, but had to play it just as a way of taking the pace out of the cue ball. It's okay still. It's stopped just far enough short of the cushion that it's still a straightforward pot. Now, that's the worst possible result. If she'd have hit full into that red, it would have been okay, or if she'd slipped past it. Trying to play that at such a weight that she was going to stop short, I think, of that ball, but just run on a couple of inches. And this is the worst point in the clearance to have missed, really, because now the reds are all hanging there. So Sharon James comes to the table after opponent's foul with 2 visits, all the reds in open positions. A nice angle here just to drop this red into the top left-hand corner pocket, the white naturally coming across the table. Just needs to avoid the left-hand centre pocket. That's the only thing that could go wrong here, otherwise she's going to drop nicely on the red on the left-hand side. Safely in, so still in absolutely prime position. Just screw this red in. just what she needs to settle herself down into the match. Worked an opportunity in the last frame and took out the clearance nicely. She's got an absolutely gilt-edged opportunity in this frame. Still got the 2 visits in hand, although no real reason to think she'll need them. Just needs to drop this black towards the corner pocket. Should go in, but even if she leaves it anywhere in the vicinity of the pocket, she's still got the second visit to clear it up. Well, I'm slightly surprised she played it like that, but still no problem at all. Black nicely set up, and the black's down. Sharon James goes into a 2 frames to 1 lead. Amy Beauchamp then to break in frame number 4. Don't be too worried about the way things have gone, but she has had chances in all 3 of the frames, so won't be delighted at the fact that she's 2-1 behind at this juncture. Red ball finding the centre pocket. She's not really going to want to be sticking on the reds there. I think she's going to need to try and find a shot on the yellows, because the way they finished near the bottom corner pocket, or the top left as we look at it at the moment, you'd definitely rather be yellow from this position. So played that plant in a nice positive way. It was a fairly straightforward plant, but it was one that had to be hit right. There was a bit of distance between the balls and between the second ball and the pocket. Getting him out of these quickly, that wasn't the best positional shot though. She knew the cue ball to run through a lot further than that if she was playing down for the ones at this end of the table. Fortunately from her perspective, there were a few problems with the reds, so she's never going to be leaving things too bad if she missed, but that is the kind of position she might well have expected to clear up from. Good starting pot from Sharon, but she's just lost the cue ball here. It's all about how well she's covered that corner pocket. That would have been a relatively valuable pocket to have covered, because where Amy's yellows are sitting, although they're over on the other side of the table, 2 or 3 of them will need to be potted in that bottom right hand corner. I think there's going to be space to squeeze the yellow in, whether it goes cleanly or whether play it off the cushion. I think Amy will probably play it off the bottom cushion and then off the red, just to move that red out the way. Well, that'll work instead. She's got the pocket covered now. Playing a percentage game, which is perfectly understandable as she's 2-1 down. Could have played a more positive shot there and tried to open the pocket up and force position on the other 2 yellows on that side. Now, This is an interesting decision. Not a bad choice. If you're going to play that shot, you definitely want to play it early on while your opponent's still got some balls tied up. Assume this yellow doesn't pot to the centre, because if it does... Well... Ooh, no, it doesn't. I was going to say, if it does, she's going to be in a lot of trouble. And again, Amy playing the percentages, there was again a clearance you could have gone for there. You could have made that into a plant and tried to force the other yellow out, but you'd always be relying on luck as to where it went, so no need to take that risk. Sharon's issue here is what she does about the bottom left-hand corner pocket. Options a bit limited from here. These aren't that far off being a plant to up and down the table, but I think they're a bit too straight for that. The reason I was talking about that was if she could have knocked a red up and down the table and tried to get it near the left-hand corner, that would have helped tactically. That wasn't really on from the position she was in though. So she's tried to play the kind of shot I was suggesting, but hasn't quite picked out the right angle there. It was a little tricky from where she was. She had to play a kind of cross double and get the white out of the way. It was always going to be a bit of an ask. Amy just confirming with the referee that this yellow isn't touching the side cushion. Didn't actually matter because the white also touched the cushion in the end, but just checking out of an abundance of caution that she was going to play a legal shot if she just ran into that yellow. Didn't want to pot that red, of course. Likely to be an exchange of a few tactical shots here. The situation around the left-hand corner still got to be resolved. She's going to have to play this, well, I was going to say fairly slowly, because she didn't really want to promote that yellow. A bit unlucky that it actually went in the pocket, but even if it had stayed over the pocket, that wasn't going to be the ideal position. Though, that said, maybe I do her a disservice. Maybe that was played intentionally, because actually if you look at the position where this is finished up, it's worked out pretty well that yellow's gone in. I wasn't immediately thinking that shot was on from where she was, but in fairness, this has turned the game round in a very positive way from Sharon's point of view. So I think she's going to have to just drop this slowly over the pocket. Oh no. You can see from the grimace that's not what she wanted. Yeah, suddenly from yellows being the dominant suit, this is now starting to look a bit tricky. That's not worked. So Sharon can plant this red bottom right, then put the one that she's now left bottom right, come over the other side, and suddenly the frame is at her mercy. Still looks maybe slightly nervous, Sharon, her demeanour around the table, but she's not shown it in the shots she's played. She's played the right shots and she's hit them cleanly in the last couple of frames. There's been nothing tentative about the way she's hit them. She's gone for her shots properly. Now just this black to the centre pocket. take a 3-1 lead. And she's been good value for that lead so far. She's generally not been the one that's been in first in many of the frames potting balls, but she's done what she needed to. She's hung on in there in each of the last 3 frames. So we'll just have a brief interlude where Amy just steps out of the arena momentarily for a comfort break. We'll be back with commentary when she returns.
Second visit. Second.
If you're just joining us, we're coming to you live from the Imperial Hotel in Blackpool with coverage of the 2018 World 8-Ball Pool Championships. This is the ladies' singles semi-final between Amy Beauchamp of England and her compatriot Sharon James. Commentary for this one from Mark Shepherd. And it's currently Sharon James who holds a 3-1 advantage in this match. Perhaps not the scoreline that people were expecting to see at this point, although certainly not a surprise to anyone that's watched Sharon play before. Amy Beauchamp comes into most matches as a fairly prohibitive favourite, but she hasn't had it all her own way so far. She's been in first in a couple of the frames that she's lost, but things have just slipped away at the end. Sharon James has held herself together well to pull out the clearances where required. With Sharon's break in this fifth frame, she potted a red ball, has taken yellows and is now facing a fairly good position here. The black's a little bit covered up, as is one of the yellows, but both of them do still pot, so it's just a case of negotiating the cue ball around the table. And this is what the match has been missing so far. There's been some high quality safety play and some good clearances towards the latter stages of some of the frames. We haven't yet seen a first visit clearance from either player. Both more than capable though. So it's just a question of how she gets on the yellow to the top centre pocket as we look at it. Well, the answer is she gets on it now. She's played that well. So that's the first bit of the jigsaw solved. She now needs to get the white through in such a way that she can get back to the black off the last yellow. She may just be able to force enough angle. Pretty close to straight on this yellow to the top centre pocket as we look at it. Ideally needs to run the cue ball through a bit further, otherwise she's going to have the wrong angle. Oh, in fact decided to go about it the other way. I'm not entirely surprised by that, because it was always going to be easier to pot the ball over the centre pocket last, because that's the one that afforded position to the black. Sorry, I was misled by the overhead view and the fact I couldn't see the player. Sharon James broke, but obviously, as you see, it's Amy Beauchamp that's at the table now. So this has been, if anything, the tale of how this match has gone so far. Amy Beauchamp has potted a lot of good balls, but has fallen slightly short of a couple of the clearances that you might normally expect her to make. The referee just being asked whether this is a total snooker. He would, with the naked eye, have said without any hesitation that it was, but he's just looking at whether there is a path through above that red. So confirmed as a total snooker, as you could hear. So I think she'll probably continue this plan of trying to promote her balls and get a snooker where required if she just runs the white over to the right hand side of the black like she's done. Might be the thinnest edge of that yellow sticking out, but that's not going to help too much. Amy looking at coming off the left hand side cushion. Although there's a lot of distance between the yellow and the middle pocket, there actually is a realistic chance of potting this yellow if she just plays into this pretty straight. Yeah, not quite, but that was worth a try. So all the reds are there now for Sharon. Just flicked to the unwanted side on the cue ball there. The natural angle was coming up between the red and the black. Just gone into that with a bit of side or a bit of topspin that forced the cue ball over to the left-hand side of the table. There's no real advantage in coming up the left-hand side. Better to come up the middle table. If she'd been in the middle of the table, she'd have had a choice of 3 or maybe 4 pots. It's pretty annoying to have left this in a position where she hasn't got a clean pot at anything. Just looking at where she could leave the cue ball. Is that good enough? Perhaps this yellow is just too far past the corner pocket to be clipped back, is it? Yeah, maybe couldn't quite make the pot, so that was a decent shot from Sharon. Although Reds are in a commanding position here in the sense that there are a lot more of them, and it's always hard when you've only got one yellow left. I think Sharon ideally wants to get this frame wrapped up quickly. Stuff can always go wrong if you keep letting your opponent back to the table. A choice of opening pot, she can clip this one into the left centre. Back in prime position again now. Take this red down the right hand side. This affords a pretty natural position to the one in the middle, so didn't have to do anything with the cue ball there, which made the pot unmissable. And now in absolutely perfect position, cue ball's naturally going up towards the bulk end of the table. Just drop this plant in fairly carefully, just try and leave the second red over the pocket, which she's done admirably. So just one good positional shot here, just draw the white down to this end of the table for a straightish shot on the black if possible. That's pretty good. So, just this black for Sharon James to take a 3-frame advantage. Black down. White tracking towards the corner pocket, but it'll be well short of that. It's Sharon James, who leads her countrywoman Amy Beauchamp by 4 frames to 1. Such has been Amy Beauchamp's domination of this event for the last few years. We haven't really seen her struggle too much in any of the matches that we've streamed or televised previously. She's got her back against the wall there in this one. Best of 13 frames, so first to 7 goes through to tomorrow's final. Sharon James is already more than halfway there. Yellow ball potted off this break. Amy sticking with the yellows. Wants to get the job done here. She's prolifically good at clearing up in 1 frame opportunities like this. She makes a lot of clearances off the break, and we haven't seen that so far today. There again, that wasn't an easy shot, but it's one that we would have expected her to get. The other problem with the way she started is that she's allowed Sharon James to really play herself into form. She looked a little bit tentative in the first frame, but once she got 1 frame on the board, she's just grown and grown in confidence. And now starting to really strike the ball well. Amy, by contrast, not striking the ball quite as sweetly as she normally does. That shot, if anything, looked a little bit rushed, although in fairness she normally plays quite quickly, and when things are going well it looks good. Sometimes when the shot doesn't come out so well you end up complaining the person's rushing, but that's probably never really a fair criticism. So after a few relatively open frames, it looks like we might be settling in for a slightly more tactical one here. You'd still rather be reds in this position because the top left hand corner pocket, as we were looking at it, bottom left now, the reds are definitely at an advantage. Amy's going to be hitting the yellows near that pocket. I was going to say there's every chance she might pot the red if she plays it like that. Now, that's a foul, of course. She's potted her opponent's ball. She's also left a foul snooker. Sharon can't see any of these reds clearly. The rule is that you need to be able to see both sides of one of the reds. She in fact can't see either side of any of the reds. So she'll confirm with the referee that this is a foul snooker, and we'll have the option of either nominating a free ball or picking up the cue ball. Great value to a free ball in that situation, so she's having the cue ball returned to her. By no means the worst outcome for Amy there. She might well have chosen to play a deliberate foul along those lines if she'd been able to see the ball that she potted. Now that's a slightly careless miss. May not turn out too badly because she ultimately did want to cover that pocket, but when you've got two visits and ball in hand, you don't really want to be missing the first shot you play. Still, no harm done. Reds are still at an advantage in this frame. So Amy Beauchamp sorted out the left-hand corner. She's now got a problem with the right-hand corner. That's helped though. The yellow's now the dominant ball there. So been a few shakes of the heads from both players. They're both seen things swing around a bit in this frame. And that's how quickly things can change. Sometimes you've got a pocket covered and then your opponent sneaks the ball in there and the situation's reversed. This isn't generally Amy's natural game. She's such a good potter that she's not typically one to get involved in this kind of tactical battle, but when you're 4-1 down, you've just got to get the frames however you can take them. May take a few shots to resolve this situation. Quite a few balls now clustered around that bottom right hand corner pocket. It's not really very easy for either player to break the deadlock. Amy doesn't want that yellow potted, so she's not going to be doing anything that risks that. Now if that was to hang over the pocket, that would be a brilliant shot. Well, that's turned out very well indeed. Good shot from Sharon James. Tap on the table from her opponent. Probably from her reaction she was looking to pot that red. It wouldn't have been the worst time to play that as a deliberate foul. always want to play a deliberate foul like that while your opponent's still got balls tied up. Sharon might consider doing the same herself. I think you could make a reasonably strong case for potting the yellow that's over the bottom right hand corner pocket. I think she can see the red that's next to it, so if she was just to drop dead weight onto that, the yellow will fall in and then she'll have both bottom pockets covered. I feel like it might have been sensible to do that whilst she's still got the bottom left covered. Will Amy be tempted by the deliberate foul herself, or will she just try and get these yellows into better positions? Yeah, I'm not at all surprised to see her play that, and I think Sharon may have missed a trick there, because now she's got a bit of a problem bottom right, unless she thinks that red goes through. These balls look to be pretty tightly wedged into the pocket. You may be in a position where you can actually hit them quite hard without anything moving. There's one ball on each jaw. It's a little hard to say which one would be the one that would fall in if you were to hit that cluster. Maybe neither of them, actually. So Amy Beauchamp showing her tactical knowledge. Knows that if she gets the black towards the bottom left-hand corner that she's got covered with her yellows, even if Sharon finds a way of potting the red, she's still going to have no way of winning the frame. Oh, this is a very good shot. Very much the right idea. For a moment I was wondering what she was doing. She appeared to be looking at the other end of the table, but she picked out a great shot off two cushions there. Now will Amy be looking to cover this again? She certainly will. Yeah, so now she needs to get the black out. Now the situation's a bit more complicated because Sharon can't play the deliberate foul. If there were some loose yellows around the table, Sharon would be happy to put her red over the bottom left-hand corner pocket. She can't do that because if she plays a deliberate foul, she'll leave a foul snooker. Well, I say that's another very clever shot. She's played two excellent tactical shots the last two visits to the table. The only way she could play the deliberate foul was if she additionally moved a red out the way to expose that yellow, and that's exactly what she's done. So now Amy has the two visits. It's not a foul snooker because she can see both sides of that yellow, or she can't in fact see the right hand side as she looks at it because the cushion's in the way, but that doesn't constitute a foul snooker in that situation. So, demonstrating good tactical knowledge, Sharon James. Immediately clear how this issue is going to be resolved, because where the balls are at the moment, I think both players are a bit apprehensive about doing anything with the bottom left hand corner. They're happy to work elsewhere on the table. Ultimately, Amy may well have an interest in trying to get the black over the right-hand side of the table. There's no way she could get it right over there that time, but it's a start. She started moving it in the right direction. She's really going to need to introduce the black into that mix if she's going to solve this conundrum. Important for Sharon that she keeps all of her reds in play. She doesn't want too many of them going safe, because that will give her opponent an opportunity to consider a tactical foul. Depends on her assessment of which of these balls is going to go in. If she could pot the yellow, she'd be happy to do that. I don't know whether that's going to be what happens. If she was to play the black straight into the red, would the yellow drop in? If not, she's going to have to look at a different way of doing it. Same thought for Amy. Can she pot the red? Because if she can, that would be useful. If she hits her yellow, does the red fall in? She wants to leave the white glued to this yellow if she plays it. No, she couldn't. So she couldn't actually pot it, so... definitely the right shot. I was a little bit surprised that Sharon knocked the black into that area to start with. It didn't feel like it was ever particularly to her advantage to have it near that cluster. So no surprise at all to see her get it back out into open play. Options are a bit limited here for Amy. Let's start. Well, nothing wrong with that shot in the sense that obviously she's not leaving anything bad on at the moment, but it doesn't really change the situation still. Sometimes though you do get into a position where you can't really do anything positive. You just have to bide your time and stay in the frame. As long as you're still batting in the frame, you've always got a chance. So, looks like the situation's going some way to being resolved now. The balls were all so tight that it was possible to hit them quite hard without anything falling in. Amy's still the one with the problem though, because that yellow isn't going anywhere fast at the moment. And actually not only that, but the reds do all now pot. Thinking there is really just to buy a bit more time. She couldn't afford to go away from the table leaving it how it was, because Sharon would have been able to clear up on the next visit, so she had to do something to lock things down. Sharon understanding the game, she just needed to make sure that she didn't leave Amy in a position where she could get the yellow over the bottom left-hand corner pocket. Good tactical awareness from both players. Nobody's really made any particularly bad mistakes in this tactical exchange, and there have been some very clever shots played. Amy's current hope is that she might get the yellow over the top right-hand corner pocket and block the path for the black. So Sharon's just making sure that she doesn't leave any kind of shot at that yellow. So she can play another kind of containing shot. If she bumps into the red that's nearest to the pocket here, she'll snooker Sharon behind the other red. She doesn't really care if Amy can see the red at the yellow at this end of the table. Amy can't afford to hit the yellow that her hand's nearest at the moment, because she'll just knock the red in and that'll be a foul and the frame will be over. A little bit of a stalemate at the moment. Not really a stalemate in the sense of it being neutral, just still very much in Sharon's favour, but just nobody can really do anything just yet. Now Sharon's just going to be a bit careful with this. She's got to keep these two reds in play. If she ever knocks these reds into a position where they're not possible, that will be more of a problem, because it will allow Amy to play a tactical foul, so she's got to keep them in open positions. Now, can Amy see this yellow? Just wants to cover this pocket. She definitely doesn't want this yellow going in. And cover the black. That's to the same effect. So I think Sharon's going to have to look to play a deliberate foul herself and get this black back into play straight away. That's not the best shot though. The reason I say it's not the best shot is that Sharon really wants the black in a possible position. The risk will be that if too many balls go safe, if a red was to go safe as well as the black, then it will give Amy a free shot to play a deliberate foul in the bottom right-hand corner pocket. Sharon's goal must just be to keep everything in play to take that option away. Now, does she want to cut this yellow down the length of the table? No. I was going to say she could have potentially tried to cover the bottom left-hand corner pocket with it. And Sharon may not have any great interest in doing anything here. She could just roll this white tight against the yellow. No particular advantage, I don't think, in doing anything too extravagant. So inquiring of the referee, Matt Ward, whether it's a touching ball. He confirms that it's not touching. So, making very quick progress at the moment. Could be in for a repeat of the last shot. Sharon could consider trying to send the yellow down to the bottom right-hand corner, but played over that kind of distance, it's hard to be sure of getting it right. Slightly surprised that Amy hasn't considered the option of putting that yellow over the bottom left. That would appear to have some tactical advantage to her. Well, this could change everything. That's a pretty innocuous shot. There wasn't actually a lot that could go wrong with that shot, but by giving away the foul that she has, Amy's got to, at some stage, find a way of getting this yellow out that's over the bottom right-hand corner pocket. Perhaps it's obviously just too tight. If she If she thought there was any way she could get it out, she'd have used the first visit to get over that side of the table and knock it out, but it obviously wasn't available. So still biding her time at the moment. The other thing Amy's got to be mindful of is that she doesn't leave Sharon an opportunity to pot her yellow, because if this was a position where Sharon could just be certain of potting that yellow cleanly, yes, she'd give away a foul, but Amy wouldn't be able to do anything with it. So just to provide an update from the other semi-final, which is being streamed live as well. Visit wepf.org to get the link to that. Barbara Taylor leads Anne-Louise Arcold by 4 frames to 2 at present. So the deadlock looks to have been broken back on this table. I've said a number of times that Sharon's priority had to be to keep these reds in open play. She got them to the stage when they weren't so open, so Amy decided it was worth the risk of playing that deliberate foul. Good double to start the clearance off, but now what does she do? She's got 2 visits, so it's okay to set the red up. She can find a way of putting the red into a possible position, but then the black doesn't go. And also, not only does the black not pot cleanly into any pocket unless you drop behind it and take it up into bulk, but that yellow's in the way of doubling it into the middle pocket, which would otherwise be the easiest way of potting it. That could be okay. She may have the angle to flick the black out. She's going to hit the black quite full here. It depends whether she manages to knock it out or whether she just double kisses into it. She has knocked it out. She doesn't want it going in though. Oh, that's very unlucky. She did so much right in this frame. What a shame that it should be settled by an unfortunate foul like that. If that ball stops just short of the corner pocket, the frame goes to Sharon James, but unfortunately for her, the ball's dropped. So a long tactical battle in which both players fought their hearts out goes the way of Amy Beauchamp. Ultimately, she doesn't have to clear the table to secure it. Sharon James potting the black prematurely. She still leads though. Sharon James 4, Amy Beauchamp 2. Sharon James then to break off in frame number 7, leading by 4 frames to 2. The disappointment continues as the break comes up dry. And could that be the lifeline in that last frame that Amy Beauchamp needed to get back into this? By her own high standards, she'd struggled slightly in this match so far. It's for all the world like Sharon was going to go 5-1 up, and then the heartbreaking end as the black went down early. not a situation you see very often, this, because neither player has had a clear shot at the colour they want to go for. They're playing a bit of a cat and mouse game, trying not to leave each other a clear pot at anything. Sharon's decided she's happy to go with the yellows and get the frame properly underway. So we're trying to put the event to the last frame behind her. Not for a moment imagining that she's going to capitulate as a result of that, but it must be hard to put that disappointment out of your mind. The opportunity for a 5-1 lead against a player of Amy Beauchamp's quality when you're playing a race to 7 is just so tantalising. Well, not quite the cannon she was looking for, but that could have been worse. She's not in prime position, but she's not in a terrible position either. She's still got a couple of shots on. Not sure if either player is going to be relishing the idea of a tactical frame along the lines of the last one. Different ways, they'll both have disappointments about the way that turned out. Not very much choice there. Amy plays the right shot. Sharon taps on the table in appreciation. Fine line between that being a brilliant shot and almost going terribly wrong. She almost potted the red over the pocket and left the yellow there, which would have been pretty good. Also almost knocked the yellow that was covering the other corner pocket out of the way. So we could be about to open battle on a different front as well. The bottom right is currently the main battleground, but Sharon's got a ball up towards the top left. Amy's now put a ball down to the bottom left, so lots to think about for everyone. At the moment, you'd certainly have to say the Reds are in the dominant position though. Amy's got control of both of the bottom two pockets on the table. Meanwhile, an update from the other table. Barbara Taylor now leading 5 frames to 2 against Anne-Louise Arkle. So the situation slightly resolved with the bottom right, but still overall very much in the balance this frame. Amy may decide to go for these. She's basically in a pretty good position. The only ball that's a difficulty is the black. I don't think it goes past the 2 yellows to the bottom right hand corner. If it does, this is a very good opportunity. Well, yeah, I don't think so, although often one is surprised at what does go past. Yeah, no, that's not ideal. If you're rolling those balls in there, they're hard to miss for the top players, but playing at that speed trying to force the white out, the ball always becomes missable. I wonder if she's left a way that Sharon can get that yellow potted or over the top left-hand corner pocket. Looks like she might be able to play it off the other red, but she's not interested in that shot at present. Maybe just not quite enough space to get it past, so gonna have to look for an alternative. Slightly bold what she's just done there, because now she's opened up that pocket a bit more, and she's also got the black into a much easier position. So the reason she played that was that she was trying to get a better angle on this yellow. She wanted to have the angle on this yellow where she could run through for the one that's on the baulk cushion. But well, I'm not sure about that passage of play. The advantage you would feel has swung towards Amy now. Just waiting for a shot to be played on the next table. So she needs to cut the one to the left of the corner pocket with right hand side, and cannon into the yellow with the cue ball. This time she doesn't need to force this red. She's missed this red once into this pocket, but doesn't need to play it as hard this time. The natural angle is to bring the white down the table. Well, in fact, she did play it with a touch more pace than some people would have done in that position, just to give even better position on the last red. So a frame that could have gone either way. Sharon James never in a great position, but at one stage in the frame had played herself slightly back into it. And just played a couple of shots that went a little bit astray. Both players just leaving the arena for a short break. 7 frames in the book, a further 6 potentially to be played. Sharon James leads Amy Beauchamp by 4 frames to 3.
Second visit. Touch the ball. Seconds. Brave 8. Amy Beauchamp's Brave, trained by 4 frames to 3. Start room.
If you're just joining us, a very warm welcome to the Imperial Hotel in Blackpool, where we're providing live coverage of the 2018 World 8-Ball Pool Championships. This is the semi-final of the ladies' singles. Amy Beauchamp trailing Sharon James by 3 frames to 4 at present, as she breaks off in frame number 8.
Balls in play. 30 seconds.
So a couple of frames ago, it looked like Sharon James might be heading into a 5 frames to 1 advantage. Ultimately didn't materialise. Sharon James prematurely potted a black in that particular frame, which made it 4-2, and then Amy Beauchamp secured the last frame. So suddenly we have a game on our hands. Amy breaking off in this frame, potting a red and going reds. Both balls sitting pretty well at the moment. Looks like this yellow will slide in past the red. Seemingly not helped by the fact that Sharon's unable to reach it though, and has had to get the spider out, which is generally not many players' favourite implement. Played it well though. In fact, in a sense, has actually played it too well. She'd have much rather that the yellow had hit that red and moved the red slightly out of the way, because now there's another yellow just above that, which isn't going to go. It was difficult though, playing that with sufficient pace, queuing over the ball and using the spider. That shot probably not terribly realistic. She'd have had to hit it quite considerably harder to achieve that result. Won't be unhappy to have covered that pocket, although I think she was probably looking to drop it in and then have another go at the right hand corner pocket. Shaping up to be a pretty tight battle between these two, which comes as no surprise to anybody that's watched either of them play previously. At the start of the match, Amy Beauchamp would undoubtedly have been the favourite, #1 seed and defending champion, but Sharon James hasn't half taken the game to her. Went into a 4-1 lead. It could almost have been more than that. It's strange to say, the way the game's gone, Amy will actually be the happier with the current scoreline, although she's behind. She could actually have been behind by even more. Sharon's task is to keep the pressure on. A couple of frames ago she had her opponent under immense pressure. That's lifting slightly now. She's got a couple more frames on the board. A couple of tactical frames already, and some elements of it again in this frame. On the whole, these two tend to play a more attacking game. Amy in particular, normally more of a potter, although she's proved herself very proficient with the tactical exchanges we've seen so far. And that's a good pot that Sharon's picked out. That's a good shot. Made some very clever tactical shots in this match already, Sharon. Still got the problem, of course, of this bottom right-hand corner pocket. That yellow's going nowhere fast at the moment. We've seen already in the last couple of frames how problematic that can be to have one of your balls stuck in that kind of position. Everything else pretty open though. Black's a little bit tied up, but all the other balls go, so currently it's all about what happens bottom right. That's good thinking. Can't do anything with the bottom right situation immediately, but may as well get the black tied up, which provides some insurance against Amy clearing it. Now, will she look to cover the top left-hand corner pocket? Could do that, could just pop the ball. There are some aggressive options available. That's the percentage option, and she's gone for the percentage option pretty much all the time so far in this match. Very intriguing match. We've had 7 frames already. It's not particularly easy to pick a winner. That's how you want it. They've both fought hard to get to this point. Both deserve a crack at it. This is by far the toughest match that Amy's had coming through to this semi-final. Number 1 seed, had a bye in the last 64 and beat Joanne Taylor of England 6-1, Harriet Haynes of England 6-1, and in the quarter-finals Lynette Horsburgh, herself a very highly ranked player and former world champion, 7-1. So no opponent has yet managed to take more than 1 frame off her. Sharon James has already done 4 times better than that, and we're still only halfway through the match. Sharon's also had a pretty smooth path to the final, although by no means as straightforward as that. Sharon beat Melanie Sanders 6-4 in the last 64. Sabria Brunet of France, a former finalist, 6-3 in the last 32. Ashley Dinsmore 6-0 in the last 16. And then Becky Watkins 7-4 in the quarterfinals. Players just exchanging a wry smile and a joke as Sharon disappointingly sees the cue ball disappear from the table. So a few different options available for Amy. She's decided to, she could have played another deliberate foul there, but has decided to just get this ball. Oh, that's frustrating for her. I was going to say just get it over the pocket and play it as a plant, but it's just hung on the edge. You can see the black was there waiting, so if that ball drops in, she's just got one right over the pocket which she can roll in and should have been on the black. Obviously still has the upper hand in this exchange, but that's a frustrating thing to happen. If Sharon's going to look to play a deliberate foul and get that yellow over the pocket, if not, it feels like she might have needed to play to leave that ball over the corner that she's just potted and try and double the other one across. Well, that's not a total snooker, but this is not a shot that anyone loves, because she's going to have to clip this very thin. She's going to lose control massively of the white, which is going to be flying up and down the table. She's going to have to play the white up and down the table. She's not quite certain where this red's going to finish up. Oh, well, in fact, she's not. She was able to play it slowly enough. It looked like it might be a little bit thinner than that. That's made it a fair bit easier. That gave her a bit more control. I mean, there's no point being critical, because Sharon was in a pretty tricky position there. There was no magic answer to that, and she was going to lose from that position a lot of the time. It felt like the option she went for perhaps didn't quite put enough pressure on Amy. I wonder if maybe she'd have been better going for the finish. She could have doubled the first ball in the cross double in the middle, and then doubled the one out that was over the bottom right hand corner pocket. That would have been a pretty ambitious passage of play there, and that would have been a low percentage as well, so hardly suggesting that would have been a perfect option. Sometimes you just get into a difficult position where there isn't much you can do. You just have to make the best of it and hope your opponent makes a mistake. Amy Beauchamp, though, hasn't made a mistake. She didn't make a mistake in the previous frame either, so having been 4-1 down, she's got the scores levelled up again. We started this match off as a best of 3. Now going to be playing a best of 5 to... started off as a best of 13, I should say. Now going to be playing a best of 5 to decide who goes through to tomorrow's final. Amy Beauchamp 4, Sharon James 4. And as she steps up to break in frame number 9, this is going to be a real test of Sharon James's character. Played so well in the first few frames of this match, took a 4-1 lead. She's seen that lead eroded, which is typically a difficult thing to deal with. There's no question at the start of this match that she'd have been happy to have the scores tied at 4-all after the first 8 frames, but given how well she started, she may feel she should be further ahead, or she should be ahead at this point. It's a big break though, channeling that, to the extent there is any disappointment, channeling that disappointment in the right way. And these balls have split out pretty well. A couple of yellows potted, opting to go with the reds. Slightly drifted out of optimum position here. I assume the way she's gone about this that she is planning to go for a finish, but this is now becoming a little bit more difficult than it perhaps needed to be. I'm not sure she is going to feasibly be able to continue from here. I mean, there are still options. She might be able to squeeze the outermost of the reds that's near the bottom right hand corner pocket as we look at it through there and open things up, but there's not a lot of space to play with that, and that shot would have been easier from higher up the table. Decides to go with covering the pocket instead, and you certainly can't blame her for that. She's in a good position with that yellow tied up there. No point getting involved in anything silly. So this seems to be the way it's gone for the last few frames. Most of the balls have been fairly open, but there's always just been one tied up near one of the corner pockets, which has slowed things down somewhat. Not much, of course, Amy could have done there, but that shot hasn't really developed anything. It's got the ball slightly safer, if anything. Well, that yellow is well and truly locked up at the moment. Amy's not going to be getting that out anytime soon. So Sharon's got a bit of time to consider what she wants to do about this. Just trying to slightly tidy things up at the top of the table. Sharon, of course, wants to get those reds into potable positions. Amy, to an extent, is just biding her time at the moment. There's not really anything hugely positive she can do. Referee Matt Ward just confirming that this is a total snooker. No problem though, Sharon coming off one cushion, resting on the red. Amy's looked at a few times at the yellow that's up at the top right, but it's just so tightly in there at the moment that it's really hard to do anything. She needs 2 shots as a means of getting it out, which is why she keeps playing these snookers. Don't know if Sharon will necessarily feel any need to come out of this snooker. It may be better just to touch up behind the yellow. Considering whether there's anything more positive she might do. From a different position, you might consider knocking some more yellows towards the top right hand corner, but that's not really an option from here. So plays the deliberate foul. Amy's got 2 shots, but no easy starting pot. I feel like it might have been more sensible just to leave her right up behind one of those yellows in a position where there wasn't any starting pot, because now there's an outside chance she can do something here. She's still got the 2 visits in hand. She can keep the 2 visits in hand and use one of them to spring out the yellow that's tied up top right. There's a chance she can turn this frame around. Not able to do too much of the cue ball there though. That was too acute a pot to risk forcing the cue ball through, and as a result now hasn't got an easy next shot. So desirable to keep the visit in hand. She's going to have to take on a difficult pot here, just in the hope that she can keep that second visit in hand. Well, that was a difficult shot, and that's turned out as bad as it could have done. Just caught the yellow a bit too thick. As a result of that, the white took a different line from the one she was expecting and ended up in the corner pocket. Game of fine margins. She catches that a bit thinner and the yellow goes in the middle, then she ends up still having the 2 visits and with the cue ball somewhere near the baulk line, or near the baulk cushion, and is able to try and spring that yellow out. So a bit to think about for Sharon here. The 2 shots is very welcome, of course, but needs to get this right. Well, it's okay. She's still got the shot in hand, of course, that she can use to double out the red that's tied up. So she's got a good cue ball there. That's the right angle to be able to play this double. Well, white's going to be running away a bit though. Oh, good shot. Very, very good shot. Played it at a good weight where she was actually able to hold. She was always going to have some kind of shot at this red, but able to hold for a nice straightforward shot. taking these very well indeed. She's seen her opponent reel off the last 3 frames, but does what she needs to here. Pulls out high quality clearance. Good stuff from Sharon James. She goes ahead for the first time in a few frames. Or regains the lead, I should say, having held it for a while. She now leads Amy Beauchamp by 5 frames to 4. Referee just struggling to get the balls tightly racked up. It's always one of the high pressure bits of being a referee. If the ball's split up well, the player takes credit for a good break, and if they split up badly, people just look accusingly at the referee. Amy Beauchamp then getting us underway in frame 10. No balls finding a pocket though. Not sure if Sharon can see. Maybe a red. The left hand of the 2 reds above the cue ball may well pot to the corner pocket. Other than that, there aren't too many options for a starting pot. Well, she could see enough of it, but didn't quite find the corner pocket. So first chance for Amy Beauchamp in this frame. All the ball's relatively open, a little bit of traffic around the place, kind of spread out quite evenly, which in a way makes it more difficult because there's a bit less space around. Sometimes when they're clustered together, it actually gives you a bit more space to work with. Picks out a good yellow there. There wasn't that much space for that ball to go through. Having to focus though on the pot, so not really sure quite where the cue ball's going, and it's drifted considerably out of ideal position. Great overhead view of the cueing. Hit that pretty well, but you see that over that kind of distance, a fraction of an inch is enough to push the ball well wide of the pocket. Not a bad position here for Sharon coming to the table. These balls are more open than we've seen in some of the recent frames. The only one that's going to be tricky is the one that's tied up next to the 2 yellows at the bottom centre of the screen at the moment. Although it's not tightly tied up, it's in a slightly awkward place to get to. As a result of that, she's probably not hugely likely to be going for anything too attacking just yet. Happy just to tie up that bottom corner pocket. Best of 13, of course, this ladies' semi-final. So first player that reaches the magical number 7 will be booking a place in tomorrow's final. Showpiece event of the week, live streamed at 1 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. We'll be providing live coverage of the men's and the ladies' finals, both taking place simultaneously for the first time ever. This two-table streaming arena that we've been using all week. That will stay in place, but some of the tables that are currently behind that and being used for the team games will be coming out to get some additional seating in so that we can fit in a few more spectators for those two finals, which will be popular spectacles as always. A lot of pool before we get to that point. Got the two men's team semi-finals coming up later today, and the ladies team final tonight. Saw some great pool yesterday. The two men's team matches that we streamed, particularly the one involving Wales and France, was a cracking game. Played in a great spirit, fast, fluent potting from both players. Oh, both teams, I should say. Thinking of the quality of the play from both of these two players as well. It's been a decent quality semi-final. Often the case in semi-finals that people don't play with quite the same freedom that they might do in some of the other rounds. Almost feels like the task of a semi-final is to lock up your final berth. Those are the ones everyone remembers, the winner of course, and also to be able to say you were runner-up or you appeared in a World Championship final is quite a big thing. So this is a big moment for both players. Neither of them have remotely frozen in the headlights. They've both played some good stuff and some pretty consistent stuff. A couple of the frames have ended up perhaps a bit scrappier than they would have hoped. I think on a different day we might have seen a few more first visit clearances from both of these two players. Feels like once we got into this pattern of tactical frames as we have in the last couple of 3 frames, it's almost become the norm for a while. That could change very quickly though. Amy currently with the upper hand in this frame. It's got what's become the decisive ball in recent frames, the one over the corner pocket. It's her yellow this time. Deciding to get after it a bit quicker on this occasion. Could have been worse, but it could have been better as well. It's slightly awkward this, having to queue over the yellow. This rather reduces the options. Not as a result of that able to go for anything too attacking. It's pretty annoyed with herself though. With the second visit in hand, she wanted to be able to continue the... Oh, just clipped the red there. That was very tight into the right centre. She just needed to drop it slowly onto the far jaw, just pushed it into the red. It's lucky actually that she hit a cushion in the end. If she'd have clipped that red any thicker, that would have been a foul on top of everything else. As it is, the yellow's gone relatively safe. Sharon needs to make something happen though. Although that yellow has gone safe, the other one is quite possible over the corner pocket, and certainly not beyond Amy to clear up from this position. Well, that's changed the complexion of things. 2 or 3 shots ago, Amy was in commanding position in this frame, but it's not looking so easy now. Decides that she's not having any of that, just wants to get that red out of the way. Says to Sharon James, you decide what to do. You can have 2 shots, but I don't think you're going to clear up from this position. So basically just putting that ball there for later. That ball is in a useful position to force past the yellow if the opportunity presents itself. It's Amy's task to make sure that that opportunity doesn't present itself. Don't know whether there's space to get the red that's in the middle of the table past the yellow as well. It's played over quite some distance, so it's not going to be an entirely straightforward shot. Decides there's no point taking that risk, and I think that's probably right. She's got a ball down there which is well placed if she gets the opportunity. From Sharon's point of view, she just wants to keep the loose red in the middle of the table in open play. Try and keep it in a position where it's accessible. Not absolutely sure about that one. I think the slight risk is if Sharon can pull out this pot, then the cue ball, screw off the side cushion, the cue ball will naturally be going down into the area she needs it. Well, now is that going in? Not quite. The important part of that shot though is the cue ball. The cue ball's in the right place to play this shot, so she can either cover the pocket or she can play this as a power shot, play the red off the yellow, which will bounce the other red out. She would definitely have been going for the attacking option if she'd have potted the other red, because she'd still have 2 visits in hand. Depends how brave she's feeling now. Decides that patience is a virtue, and I think she's going to find another deliberate foul coming her way. You can see what Sharon was thinking. She didn't want to go for anything reckless when she had the option to cover that pocket. The trouble is, she was always inviting Amy to play the kind of counter foul, as it were. This is now not really a great position to be reds, because although she can hit the one at the other end of the table, that doesn't really help very much. She's still got the problem of this one. So does she now have to take this on as a double? Is there even space to double this? I'm not sure there is. I think it might double kiss. She's just going to have to... Well, that was the best she could do really, but is that going to be good enough? She's now just relying on the fact that the black's in quite a tricky position. So if Amy stops, comes just above centre table. Oh dear, dear, dear. Goodness me, I don't see that very often. Completely miscued that. I was going to say, she just comes a little bit north of centre table, leaves an angle on the remaining yellow. She may have been able to knock the black out or play for a double, but that miscue has ruined everything. Well, this has been a costly sequence of shots for Amy. Effectively gift wrap this frame for Sharon, although she's still going to find a way of getting properly on the black, because the black isn't right over a pocket. Oh, that's a great shot. That's a really good shot. Not only has she got the cue ball down this end of the table, but she's loosened the black into a much more straightforward position to get on it. Well, how do you like this? She's done all the hard work in this frame, and she's now left a 85-degree cut at least on this black. Huge margin for error there. She just needed to end up anywhere at the top of the table. She could have been right up in baulk. Anywhere north of the middle pocket would be fine, but leaving it short like that. This frame could be so significant in the context of the match. Amy Beauchamp had a gilt-edged opportunity to make it 5-all. Sharon James had an even better opportunity to make it 6-4. We still don't know who's going to win this frame. Well, a dramatic way to win it. She's going to be enormously relieved as she walks away from the table. Pulls out a great double in the end. Shouldn't have been anywhere near needing to play that shot, but plays it well. Sharon James now goes ahead by 6 frames to 4 and is only 1 frame away from victory in this best of 13 match.
Time 11. Sharon James for break, leading by 6 frames to 4. Time running.
So Sharon James get us underway in frame 11, leading by 6 frames to 4 and only needing 1 for victory. Joe Fanto joins me in the commentary box, fresh from commentating on the match between Anne-Louise Arkle and Barbara Taylor. What can you tell us about the result of that one?
Well, they started off nice. It was 2-all, so both players had opportunities early, and they shared the honours in those first 4 frames. But after that, Barbara Taylor showed her experience, and she managed to sort of, I wouldn't say cruise to victory, but she sort of, her authority shone through in her experience, and she was a much more composed player, you know, under the conditions to win the match convincingly 7-3. And it looks like Anne Beauchamp's fighting back here, like a true world champion would be.
Yeah, Sharon James was 4-1 up at one point, had a chance to go 5-1 up. Amy Beauchamp's fought her way back into it. Sharon was pretty unlucky. She potted the black by mistake to make it 4-2 when it could have been 5-1, and she'd got herself into a winning position. Amy's then played a bit better. She's generally played pretty well, but she's just lacked the killer last shot. Normally she's so ruthless. She's just slipped out of position or missed the last ball, or just a couple of things have happened that she's just been struggling to get over the line. And Sharon's been very consistent, but has been given some sort of late opportunities in a number of the frames. That's how she's won a lot of these frames. But all credit to Sharon though. She's played a very solid game. She's done everything that's been needed when it's been needed.
And how long has Sharon been sitting on 6 frames for?
She's just won the last one, so it was 5-4, and it's
Right.
now just gone 6-4. Amy got it back to 4-all at one point. And actually that's the thing that Sharon deserves the most credit for, because having seen 4-1 turn into 4-all,
Yeah.
sometimes you can fall apart at that point.
You can get disheartened, especially when you're playing a former world champion and a defending champion.
Yeah, she's done very little wrong, has Sharon, since then. She's been very composed. Yeah, you know, you see, this is exactly what's been happening with Amy.
She probably didn't come back as far as she would have liked here.
No, it's been exactly this kind of thing where she's potted most of the balls, and then something like this has happened at the end, and now she's left herself this incredibly thin clip rather than what should have been a much straighter shot to the middle pocket.
Yeah, so she's going to lose the white here. She plays it nice and slow and steady, and certainly makes the pot. And I think she's given herself an opportunity on this black.
Yes, and
Certainly has.
is she going to have to? She can certainly turn this over with a bit of right hand side. Is she going to have to play with side, or can she get into it? It's not the worst thing if she just has to dig down with a little bit of right hand side. It will help the pot anyway.
It's a lovely pot.
Well, and that's the kind of single visit clearance that we haven't been seeing too much of so far. That's normally her trademark.
So Anne Beauchamp pegs back to be with one frame of Sharon James, and it's certainly shaping up for a pressure-packed, interesting final stages of this match. So we're watching the ladies' individual semi-final here at the 2018 World Championships, coming to you from the Imperial Hotel here in Blackpool in England. So the referee in this match is
Matt Ward refereeing this one.
Mark Ward.
Matt Ward.
No problem with racking the balls this For the match, no issues?
There've been no issues. It's taken him a while. He's done a conscientious job. There've been no bad breaks, and nobody's had any cause to blame him, but he's made absolutely sure.
Yeah, I must admit, it's been a pretty good performance by Lloyd Clark over there as well. I haven't seen them have to re-rack their balls, not once, in that whole match of 10 frames.
No, this has been played in a good spirit. These two have seen him doing a good job and have trusted him. Nobody's been looking at the rack or anything like that. Nothing potted though off that break from Amy Beauchamp.
So it gives Sharon an opportunity to take control of this frame. And of course, if she can take control of this frame and win the frame, she wins the match and a spot in the final shot at the World Championship for 2018.
Yeah, either of these would be popular finalists. Amy Beauchamp, of course, has had a lot of success. Sharon James has been knocking on the door of the big time. She's played very well in this tournament over a number of years. If she could go one better, she'd be delighted, as would all of her supporters. Big moments these in the semi-finals. One frame away from reaching that elusive World Championship final. Once you reach that, your name's on the roll of honour forever.
Yeah, just about got to try and black that out and just concentrate on the shot, because not add any extra pressure to yourself.
No, we've seen precious little of that. That was a slightly disappointing miss there. She's not really missed very much in the last few frames.
So I'm sure we'll see and Amy capitalise on this situation. Having been allowed to get to the table a little bit sooner than what she expected.
Oh, that's a good
She
shot.
had a lovely shot on that yellow, and it falls. It has a look, waits, and falls.
Yeah, I think
she's giggling.
I think she'd be happy to have it back, Frank. I don't think she really wants it falling in.
Yeah, when she saw her next shot, she would have been happy to have it back.
The match has been played in a good spirit. The players have exchanged a few jokes through the course of it.
Effectively, you got four players in the semi-finals from England. So they've took a stranglehold on this women's singles event, English girls.
Yeah, and there's been a number of English players en route. Amy's route to the final. She beat two English players. Joanne Taylor 6-1 in the last 32, Harriet Haynes 6-1 in the last 16, and then local girl Lynette Horsburgh, she beat 7-1 in the quarterfinals, and that's no mean feat. Lynette Horsburgh representing Scotland, but based in Blackpool, so strong local support and always a popular figure here. The 2008 World Champion. I've had the pleasure of her company and commentary on a number of occasions for these ladies' matches. Very knowledgeable and engaging commentator, as well as being a great player. Sharon's path to the final has been a bit more multicultural. She beat Melanie Sanders, one of your team, Joe,
from
Australian, 6-4 in the last 64.
It comes from a place where it's where weather like this in Blackpool would just be a routine. It comes from the Northern Territory.
Yes, I think probably find it quite cold if she comes
from
to
the
Northern
cold day
Yes.
in Darwin.
Well, that's two misses so far in this frame.
A few misses creeping in here for Sharon. I'm sure she would like to be playing a lot more solid in this, what could be the final frame for her of the match. If she's Amy Beauchamp, the #1 seed and defending champion.
She's continuing Sharon's run to this semi-final. She beat Sabria Brunet of France, former finalist, 6-3 in the last 32. Ashley Dinsmore of Northern Ireland, 6-0 in the last 16. And then Becky Watkins, 7-4, fellow England player in the quarterfinals. So she's conceded a few more frames than Amy has. I mean, this is an example of what a good performance this has been from Sharon. Amy hadn't conceded more than one frame in any match up to this semi-final. She's already
Wow.
conceded 6, I should say. I think a decider would probably be fitting in the context of the match, but Sharon James has done everything she needed to, so it would certainly not be remotely undeserved if she was to wrap it up at this point.
Especially if you're saying she could have been 5-1 at one stage.
Yeah, the frame to go 5-1 was a very long tactical frame where, to be honest, either of them could have won. Sharon finally worked herself an opportunity and had done so much, and then she played a really good shot to spring the black out. The black was tight on the side cushion. She needed to knock it out, and she managed to knock it out and doubled it all the way across the table into the pocket, which was a pretty unfortunate outcome. She's taken it well though. She shrugged off that disappointment quickly. Even though she lost a few frames in a row after that, she didn't really let her standard drop.
So Amy Beauchamp, she probably would have liked to have nudged that yellow there on the left, closest to her red on the left of the table, a little bit further. And she played down. So she's still drafting her way through this break.
Yeah, she can drop this one into the centre pocket. She's just got to be quite delicate with the white. She doesn't want to run the white behind that red. It would have been easier if she was dead straight on this. I think she's just got a little bit of angle. Oh, good shot. She was able to straighten the angle by playing off the red.
And all of a sudden, it's looking like it's all going to come down to one frame.
Well, this will be a fitting finale. They've both played their part in this. Amy Beauchamp's done well to work her way back into the match. She did very well to dig out that clearance. The score's now tied. Amy Beauchamp 6, Sharon James 6.
And we wish both players all the very best of luck in the last frame in this match, because it's all down to tiebreaker 13th frame.
Yeah, how do you like the pressure of this? One frame to get through to the World Championship final.
And particularly in Sharon's case, where she's led this match most of the way.
She's never been behind since frame 1 of this. Amy won the first frame, but since then Sharon was 4-1 up, and it went back to 4-all. She moved 6-4 up, and now it's back to 6-all.
And of course Sharon's got the break here.
Yeah, she's been breaking reasonably well. She's potted off a majority of her breaks, but hasn't, I don't think, cleared off any of them, so she hasn't gone the whole way. I think Matt Ward will be making extra careful that these are racked tightly. He doesn't want to be responsible for anything going wrong in the decider. See from the overhead view, he's got the balls perfectly lined up. So Barbara Taylor awaiting in tomorrow's final. We're providing live coverage of that at 1 PM tomorrow, along with the men's final. Search for EPA on YouTube, or go to the World 8 Ball Pool Federation's website, wepf.org, to get the links to the live streams for these matches.
It's a yellow ball potted.
Yeah, actually that's one of the worst splits of the match. The ball actually didn't move that much. You can see the one still clustered around the black, but the important stat, as you say, is that one of the balls went down.
And the reds appear to be the better spread. But not as easy first pot from here for our reds. So she's probably still contemplating which she's going to take.
Yes, the reds would seem easier. She can clip this one into the top left ball pocket. The only thing that's difficult is the position of the black.
So she's opted for the reds, and she's managed to break that red free as well.
And actually, seeing it from this angle, you see that the red goes into the middle pocket, and that would afford quite, and probably the corner as well. That would afford quite a good opportunity to break the black out. So although she's not perfect on this one, everything is now quite open.
It does, and yeah, every red is potable, but she's obviously not confident that. I'm sure she only played that to be in or over. not just to cover that pocket.
Yeah,
She would
you
have
can
played
see
it a
from the
lot better if
position.
she wanted to pot it.
Yeah, absolutely. And you
So
can't blame her for that. This is a lot of pressure.
A lot of pressure in this last frame.
And actually, it wouldn't hurt for Amy. If Amy was to move a few of these yellows, it would make life kind of easier for Sharon, so she wouldn't really mind that. So this is not a total snooker, of course. So
I think she was going for that red close to the black.
I'd like to say she was going for that one. I'm not absolutely convinced she was.
But she was fortunate that there was one in reserve there in the background.
Well, and to be honest, it was a better shot. If you were going to move one of the balls, it was much better to move that one.
It was, because it was quite awkward there with once Amy put that yellow there between it and the middle pocket. I suspect that yellow might be potable in the middle. No, she's running it down to the end.
Oh, I think she's potted it.
Yeah, she has. She's played that very well.
Yeah, I don't think she really wanted it to go out. I don't think she thought it was anyway. She'd pot it from where it was, but she can cover the pocket with this one instead. You still prefer the position of the reds. Sharon's got an opportunity to free out the one that's tied up on the left-hand side now. Not too much to choose between them though. It's still a very balanced game, as you often get in a decider. I hope it comes down to one player making a good clearance. It's been a good quality match. It would be a shame if it ended on some mistake for either player.
Sharon James looking for a spot in the final. Of course, Amy Beauchamp's been there.
Yeah, she's been there and won it twice in the last 3 years. This is not a position she's been in too many times. She's run away with a lot of the matches that she's played en route to both of those titles.
So what you're saying is this could be a different pressure for her as well, to be 6-all in the semi-final.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mean that she would have expected to beat Sharon easily, but she's been in such form that the fact that she's only conceded one frame in each of her previous matches, it's not like she's had a lot of experience of these close ones.
Yes, certainly not at these championships.
She's got more than enough experience to cope with this situation. They both have. You can't always practice for it, and you can't always tell how you're going to react though until you're in this position. Well, that turned out a bit strangely. She got a sort of bad contact on the red. You saw the red bouncing, although it didn't affect the shot too badly. It's turned into an okay place. Good thinking from Amy Beauchamp to knock that red safe, although actually Sharon's going to be able to knock it out. She can either cross double it, or she might decide to play it around 2 or 3 cushions and get it back into the middle of the table.
She's actually given away a deliberate 2 shots.
Yeah, that's not a bad
Great game.
Yeah, she's played a few quite innovative tactical shots, and I've agreed with all of them. They've not always been the obvious ones that you would call, but she's thought through it very well this match.
Yeah, it's a good shot, but under normal circumstance, but semi-final playing defending champion to give 2 shots at this stage, I must admit I wouldn't be game, but that's why I'm sitting here.
Yes. Yeah, I think it was a difficult enough position that even if it wasn't the decider, Amy would have struggled to clear up from that position. It's now very tricky. I think Sharon as well is almost happy to have a bit of risk for the sake of leaving herself an easier clearance at the end. She doesn't want to leave herself some kind of monster finish to have to pull out. They are still there though. Amy is now on this bottom one.
That's right.
There's that one up top right which doesn't pot to the top right hand corner, but you could either play it as a double or drop behind it for the middle. The positional side of this clearance is tricky though, because I think she's going to have to chip this back one in first, but then that doesn't afford great position. Then to get from the middle to the one on the right and then back for the black is an awful lot of movement with the cue ball. No, even for the great Amy Beauchamp, I think that probably was a bridge too far, trying to pull a clearance out from there. I don't think that's a bad choice at all. The last thing she wanted to do was pot all the yellows and then leaving Sharon roll-ins on the red.
So that's a very good defensive shot. So when does she pick the moment to try and go?
She's been pretty patient so far. I don't see her going for it just yet.
Now you've got that yellow and red together, the top end of the table as well.
Yeah, I think she'll be keen to deal with that. I think she'll be keen to deal with that, but she won't be keen to deal with it too soon, because as soon as she deals with it, it's going to open everything else up for Amy. So
yeah,
she's got to be a bit patient about that. She doesn't want to wait too long though, because at the same time, Amy is knocking these yellows into increasingly positive positions. So. Well, there is a chance here. She's lucky that that yellow is still tied up on the right hand side, because absent that, I think the yellow above the red probably pots in the middle and the black is now in a more open position. I mean, it's not... If this wasn't decided, I could imagine her having a go at these. I don't know if she's going to be tempted or whether she might just think she wants to cover the top right hand corner pocket and bide her time a little bit longer.
Amy Beauchamp.
30 seconds.
Looking for another world title. Just plays it nice and slow towards the pocket.
So now things are actually becoming a bit urgent for Sharon, because all the yellows are in okay-ish places. The fact that yellow's up top right now makes it much easier to get on the one that's near the red. They're basically each one shot away from this being an easy opportunity to clear up. All of Sharon's balls go bar the one top right, which does go, but just not from where she is.
So that's pot number one. Sharon James. It's going to be difficult to do it from here.
I think she'll go for the safety. If she bumps the red that's in the middle of the bottom cushion, she'll get a snooker. Surely she's not considering bridging over this ball and clipping one in the centre.
I wouldn't think so. Especially where she's going to play the safety, I think.
30 seconds.
Surely the one in the middle of the bottom cushion.
Oh, wow.
I'm surprised at this. This is not the game she's really played. Yeah, this is. She's just playing with us.
Yeah, it's teasing us.
That was too easy a safety shot for that not to be the right shot. If it was a choice between a tricky safety and a tricky pot, then fair enough, go for it. But not where there's an easy opportunity. She's played a good white. In fairness, I think she's concentrated on the white and not the red. She's made life a little bit difficult for herself now. I mean, of course, those reds still pop, but they're not in absolutely perfect position. Now, can she get in behind this? Ooh.
So she's not happy with that.
Well,
she wouldn't have expected no result on that yellow.
This is the chance that Sharon's been waiting for. She can put the cue ball right on the corner of bulk on this side, drop the red, or she can play it along to the corner maybe, but she can get this difficult red out of the way.
Sharon James, 2 shots on reds.
What must she be feeling though? There's a lot of pressure on this. This looked a relatively easy opportunity, but it's not easy in the circumstances.
That's fallen.
She needs that to go in.
Got a result there. She couldn't afford that to not to go in if she's going to clear these balls.
Yeah, keeping the 2 visits takes the pressure off now.
It's okay.
Yeah, so this one's quite straight. She'd have dearly loved a little bit more angle on this one, because if she could have left the last one a bit straighter, she's now going to have to run through.
which will finish with an angle to play into that red and yellow, I would say.
She's going. Yeah, I think she's going to finish with more angle than she wants here, but or is she going to screw back? Oh, she is. She's played the positive shot.
And she's going to finish too close. No.
I know, that's a good shot.
Up. That's a good shot.
She can force. No, I think she can force the angle off 2 cushions here. She just needs to dig into this with stun on left-hand side to come off the 2 cushions.
Yeah, and leave herself in the middle.
Or is she just going to screw straight? Oh no!
Oh no!
Oh, she's quite badly on
too
that.
Short.
Oh, she hasn't cued that at all. That's the first time she's just totally quit on a ball.
Must have tightened there. Didn't play that shot at all how she would have meant to.
Oh, there was such a big margin for error as well.
And she seems to be rushing this. Oh, and the drama continues.
Here's an ahs from the commentary box and from the crowd. Oh, goodness.
We thought this was going to be framed for Sharon and a spot in the final, but instead she snookered on her last red.
If she doesn't pull out some miracle shot here, she's going to leave Amy in amongst these yellows, and this match is all going to be over.
Well, she's got to play off that cushion, that top cushion, with some side to play into that red and hope for the best. She's not even doing that. She's going to try and push the black safe.
That's not enough.
Not enough.
I mean, it's not the worst idea, because I don't know if Amy will risk going for this cut, so she probably will only have 1 shot. She has risked going for the cut. That's actually a bit brave, because if that had gone safe, she'd have been in a lot of trouble.
Amy's back on a par. She's only got 1 shot to clear.
Yeah, look at the balls there. They're well placed.
At this stage, Sharon might be saying that that was the right shot to play the black close to the cushion, but
I think if she'd have got the black tight to the cushion, it would have been one thing, but I don't know that it's difficult enough.
Well, no, because this match is going to unfold in a matter of minutes.
Yeah, Amy's done the right thing. She's played for the more difficult of the yellows first, because then the last yellow will be easy and she can just think about position. Although it's going to be some work to do with this positional shot.
She's going to have to come around the table.
You have to play off 3 cushions, top, left and right hand side cushions.
And you can see she left herself with this rail to leave the best possible angle to get this white to go around the table to finish in this bottom right area. And it's heading in the right direction. Amy Beauchamp, she's just got to negotiate the cushion.
This is a tricky pressure black though for the semi-finals.
She was trying to edge that white off the cushion.
How do you like this for placing your 3rd World Championship final in 4 years?
Amy Beauchamp.
Oh, she's missed it.
She misses. She misses.
Sharon James, 1 long, just off straight red for a place in the World Championship final.
This is not easy.
This is not easy.
Especially under this pressure.
She can play a fine clip to the middle or a long, almost straight red to the corner.
Will she risk the cut in the middle with the white running? Or will she go to the end? Hold our breath.
Oh, what a great shot!
Pressure.
She got down quickly, she got down confidently, and what a fantastic pot.
And Sharon James is through to the final, 7-6 against the #1 seed, Amy Beauchamp, and the defending champion.
All credit to Sharon James. She was under immense pressure at the end. She fluffed 1 opportunity from a very promising position, but pulled out a phenomenal last red. Amy Beauchamp came so close. She was 4-1 down. She made such a good match of it. Heartbreaking to fall over in the deciding frame like that. One of those matches where it was a shame that there had to be a loser, but what a part they both played in a great semi-final.
What a dramatic finish that we've witnessed here in Blackpool in England at these 2018 World Championships in the ladies individual semi-final. But it's Sharon James through to the final. And don't go away, viewers, because there's plenty more of this drama to come the rest of today and tomorrow.
Thanks for your company. The latest final to see the outcome of this. Sharon James against Barbara Taylor coming up at 1 PM tomorrow. Plenty more pool in the meantime today. Men's team finals coming up later on. Ladies team final tonight. Do join us for that. Thanks for your company. Bye for now.
Signing off, Joe Fanto and Mark Shepherd.